NASCAR announced that it will not be making any changes to its playoff format for this upcoming 2025 season. However, it is open to exploring possible changes for the 2026 season. This is over at NASCAR.com, and John Probst, NASCAR's executive vice president, specifically, he is the chief racing development officer. This is what he said: "I don't think we want to get in the habit of making small little tweaks every season to the playoffs." While where we landed was for 2025, not making any changes to the playoffs throughout the course of this year, we will get a working group together with some media folks, OEMs, Goodyear, drivers. Why do they use OEMs? Like, when did that term start becoming popular when we're discussing NASCAR? Why aren't we just using manufacturers? What's wrong with that? Why are we saying OEMs? It's weird. I don't like it. Anyways, he continues saying, "We probably talk to most of the folks one-on-one about where are we at, what are we thinking. Basically, we look at that as a work stream for a group of our stakeholders this year to look at it holistically." He would go on and say, "The playoffs were meant to create those moments, which I feel like they did." It's unclear exactly what moments he's talking about. I guess he's talking about moments where you have Joey Logano being able to kind of run the table, didn't have the greatest regular season, made it into the championship, kind of raced his way through the playoff format, and then became the championship winner in that winner-take-all race at Phoenix. So maybe that's what he's talking about there. I mean, that is kind of what it seems to be implying, although I do feel like a little bit of context is missing there. Anyways, he goes on and says, "And on the other hand, there's the fan feedback, which we hear loud and clear. On this particular driver should have been here, or that particular driver won this many races, so he should have been automatically in," and all of that. Probst said officials heard from three schools of thought: one that loves the playoffs, one that hates them, and one fell in the middle, enjoying the playoffs, wanting to fix them, but an overriding uncertainty of what there is to fix. "We just didn't get to a point where we felt like we have to do it, but we hear the fans loud and clear and are looking at it actively." So again, no definitive change has been suggested, nor any alterations guaranteed for the 2026 season, but the sanctioning body will look to gather an industry-wide committee to determine what changes could be made, if any, ahead of the 2026 season, seeking opinions from drivers, teams, manufacturers, media, and officials. In November, State of the Sport address, NASCAR President Steve Phelps did say this: "We are always looking if there are opportunities for us to tweak something. We are not going to go away from playoffs. We'll absolutely look at what form the playoffs take. In the offseason, you always learn. But playoffs in and of itself," as Steve said, "you cannot argue with the quality of racing that the playoffs have delivered. You can talk about the format if we do some different things, but absolutely we're going to stick with it." So that's not really all that surprising. That seems to be where a lot of these, any kind of sport is leaning towards. You're going to have some kind of playoff system. It's not just going to be a regular season. You are going to have some kind of tournament playoff system in place. The biggest change I think they should make is they need to get rid of the winner-take-all race at Phoenix, when you're just coming down to four guys and whoever has the best finish at Phoenix wins. I don't like that at all. I think that needs to go back to a chase format. I think it could be a 7-race chase, whatever it happens to be. So you have kind of that idea where it's the 7 winner take all out of 7, or best of 7 series, like you have, not winner take all, excuse me, best of 7, like you have with the Major League Baseball, with the NHL, with the NBA. I kind of like that idea where it's a 7-race format and you have a whatever number of drivers it happens to be in that, and they are the best of 7, right? I really like that. I think that kind of matches up to what you see with everything else, and I think it is kind of still within the spirit of NASCAR, where you do have these kind of long seasons, and it's the best of that. So if you're going to have a playoff still, I think that's kind of what it has to be, at least a 7-round race, and maybe you can extend that to 14. So you do have maybe like an elimination from 14 to 7, somewhere in there. Obviously, that probably shortens your regular season a little bit. So maybe you play with the number of races that you have there. But I think that is probably the biggest change that I would recommend. I really do not like the winner-take-all race at Phoenix. And then I also think there should be some mixing up of what tracks are at that final race. Now, obviously, it's been Phoenix for a long time. So if you're really, really good at Phoenix, which the Penske Fords have been, you're probably more than likely going to win if you can get to that race. And they've won, I think, the last 3 in a row. Logano winning 2 and Ryan Blaney winning in 2024, or 2023, Logano in 2024. So those would probably be the changes that I would make. I think those are pretty obvious to make. We did have that one. I think they did make one change, but it wasn't specifically to the playoffs. It was to whether or not if a driver misses a race, they're basically I think eliminated from competition or something like that they made earlier this year. So this is what the what it looks like now, and what it will remain for this year. There's a current 16 driver 4-round elimination format that determines the NASCAR Cup Series champion. Has been in place since 2014. The last significant change to the format came in 2017 with the introduction of stage racing and playoff points. Playoff points accrued for race wins and stage victories, plus those awarded to the top 10 drivers at the conclusion of the regular season, provide additional cushion to championship contenders through each of the first 3 rounds of the playoffs. The 4 drivers left competing for the title in the season finale engage in a winner-take-all event, with the highest finishing driver of the quartet earning the championship. So I don't like that at all. I know that's what you see with the NFL. In the Super Bowl, you have a winner-take-all game, but I much rather prefer the best-of-7 series, and you have them kind of grinding it out, dueling it out, seeing who is the best over a number of tracks. And I think that's more in line with what you'd want to see with NASCAR. Are you good at the road courses? Are you good at the super speedways? Are you good at the mile and a halves? Are you good at the short tracks? And so kind of giving them a mix of all those tracks, and that is who your champion is, rather than are you just good at Phoenix and you happen to be and you win, and you're good and you win and you become the champion. So that would be my suggestion. That's kind of my only complaint right now. Obviously, once you get to that point, I think you can maybe make some changes after that, but I think you have to make that big change first in order for you to make kind of any other changes after that. But let me know what you guys make of this. What do you make of the fact that NASCAR is not making any changes to the playoff format? And what would be your suggestions to change the playoff format? Let me know in the comments below.